Good evening, fellow YouTubers and Routmaster builders. This is now, oh god, I'm not organised, issue 57 of Build the Classic Routemaster. Okay, so this is the issue, I believe. Well, we're going to do the switch, with the rope inside, like the pull switch. So I think there's been a few problems with the spring on this, and there could be some adjustment needed on the actual switch itself to make it work. So I have got somewhere, which I have lost, but I shall find it in a second. I'm going to need to get my multimeter, and then we can test continuity to make sure the switch is working when we finish this build. So without further ado, we'll go down and we'll crack on with the build. I do apologise now if there is a sudden cut through this video somewhere. It's because I had to dash down because I'm expecting someone to knock on the front door. I don't know what time, so if there's a funny cut, that's why I've gone to answer the front door. But no, without further ado, let's crack on with the build. Okay, so I'm back. I found my multimeter. I was actually trying to fault find a problem with my partner's car the other day, so I left it in the toolbox out front. So, that being done, let's open this issue and we'll get started. I think there's going to be a fair bit to do on this one. Now I'm going to keep this bag because I'm not sure if we need to do anything with these handrails at the moment. I've got a feeling we have to leave them off and keep them somewhere safe. So I'll keep the bag just in case I need to do so. So, this is the roof panel and the bell cord. So, let me open this issue. And it is really big. And we'll see what we've got. So, I'm just going to grab the parts tray and try and empty this out in there. Yeah, there's parts everywhere, so be really careful when you're emptying all this out. Lots of parts. Yeah, there's still loads. Be really careful because I've still got a load stuck up. There's a bit there, bit there. Wowza. Take that out. That's rolling off. Sorry, I'm just trying to be really careful and get all this stuff out. There's more stuff in here than I actually that meets the eye. Static isn't helping. Now, right, I think there's one more bit, and I think that is everything. Come on. Come on. There we go. Right, I am sure that is everything, but I'm going to keep that just in case. Wow. Right, bits everywhere. So I'm just going to empty some of the screws out of here, put them to one side, and then we can go through all these little bits. Okay, I think I'm ready. Oh, wowzer. Well, it looks like my switch is really bent. And the worry is, that was from factory. That is at quite a steep angle. Now, if I was to bend that back, there is every possibility that that will snap. So, I'm going to have to be really gentle with that. We'll see what we can do. Maybe I need to get a replacement issue. But we'll see how the build goes. And then I can do that if need be. Right, so let's go through all these parts. So we've got the main roof section, which is 57A. I'm going to do these relatively quickly because there's so many parts to get through. Okay, so we've got another piece of roof. Ah, look, again, that is damaged, and there's a stress mark across there. You see, very slight crack and a stress mark, but hopefully we should be alright. I'll see what it's like when we put this issue together. It's not looking good, so we've got two slightly defective parts at the moment. 57B, we've got 4 sockets, which are these silver ones here. Okay. 57C, we've got 6 ceiling lamps, and I have got 6 of those, and that's these clear lamps that we did in the previous issue. We've got 57D, which are light deflectors, 2 of, and that's these parts here. Uh, 57E, which are poles, and we've got 4 of those, and that is these plastic ones here. Uh, 57F, we should have 5 cord guides, which I do, and that's these black pieces here. Now I thought that was slightly bent, but they're supposed to be. The looks like some sort of locating peg is at an angle. 57G is the cord itself, which is this here, and it just looks like a bit of a thicker bit of cotton, really. 57H is the cable J1, which is this, which is the switch. As I say, this should be straight. So let me just see if I can bend that back. Ah, okay, I have done that, and that seems to be okay. But obviously that will be weakened now, so we'll see how that goes. Okay. 57I is the control slider, which is this part here. 57J is a spring, which is there. We've got 57K, which are tape strips times 13. Which we've got there. And they've also sent us an extra one as well for some reason. There's 13 on there, and I've got one extra. Yeah, there's definitely 13 on there, plus one extra for some reason. Okay, that is it for the parts. Then we've got LP screws, which are there, LP. I'm not going to get them out because I've got a feeling some of them might be for the poles we don't need yet. Let me bring you down. Yeah, some of them might be for the poles that we don't actually need yet, so I'm not going to take them out until we need them on this occasion. We've got 13 DP screws, which is there. AP screws times 2, which are there. JP times 7, which are there. FP screws 5, yep. And then we've got some NP screws, and there should be 3 of those, which there are. Cool. So I'm happy that everything is complete. As I say, I'm a bit disappointed with this. I mean, you can see how bent that is. So I'm hoping that that will be alright when we come to connect it. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Okay, so step 1 is take 3 cord guides, 57F, and position them on the ribs in the ceiling as indicated. Ensure they're in the correct orientation so that they sit flush with the ceiling panel. Fix each cord in place with 2 DP screws. So I'm going to get the DP screws out. Ready? I mean, I kind of want to make sure that that fits before I go to all the bother of fixing all the details onto it, but I'm quietly confident we'll be alright. So we're going to be looking at these 3 here. So you've got these 3 holes here, 1, 2 and 3, and the only ones like it on the roof panel. And then we're going to put the cord guides through. Now I'm just going to check the orientation. They need to sit flat. Okay, yeah. Now they do fit both ways, but I don't even see that. It's hard to see. It's slightly raised on this side. It's not a comfortable fit, but if you turn it round, it then sits flush. And that is what we're aiming for. So I'm going to pop that in, and then we're going to secure that with 2 DP screws. So I've started one off. Now I was actually saying on Penny, those of you who watch Penny's our stream, me and Penny stream on a Wednesday for her Routmaster build. I actually find it really good to put my finger on the end of the. I'm using the Oria screwdriver. I put my finger on the end and twist with my thumb and fingers, because then I find it very difficult to over tighten a plastic screw, because you haven't got the energy, the strength to actually over tighten it. So you can turn it until it stops, and then that seems to get me a perfect tightness on that. If I was to hold it sort of normal, like a normal screwdriver, I think you could over tighten the screws, but that seems to work really well for me. And I've never thought about it. I just noticed it the other day. I was doing it thinking, oh, but yeah, that's just a little tip. It works for me. It might not work for you, but it just seems comfortable to do it that way. So I've just started that one off. Brilliant. And then I've got another one to put in. Which is this final one here. Brilliant. So I'm happy with that. So they are the 3 cord grips into place, or cord guides, should I say. And that completes step 1. step 2, take the 2 light deflectors and fit them to the lower side of the ceiling panel as indicated. Fix each one in place from the upper side of the ceiling panel with 2 LP screws. Okay, so we're fitting this side and this side because it's the only lamp. The actual main lamp will go through the bigger hole there, and then you've got 2 holes on either side. Okay, and then we're going to fit these lamps, the lamp deflector in. Now let me just check, that's gone in really nicely, and I'm not going to take that out because that's fitted really nicely. I was just going to see if you could put it in in the wrong direction. Yeah, so you can put it in the wrong way, but obviously it doesn't look right. But this one was a really nice fit, so I'm going to start with this one, and then we're going to secure it with the LP screws from this side, and these are the flange screws, or top hat screws if you like. I'm just going to put the label on the DP screws so I don't get them mixed up. Okay, so LP screws, 2 of those, and these are tiny screws. Okay, and I'm not going to go very tight with those at all, because there's no need. It's just to hold them into place. It's not going to move anywhere. So we've got something that looks like that. I'm really happy with that. That's solid. We're going to repeat that step on the other side. So I'm going to pop that into position, and then again with 2 LP screws we're going to do the same. And that is it for the LPs, because I've got 1 left and we always get a spare. So I'm stopping. I could tighten this more in this method, but I'm just stopping where the actual flange part of the screw meets the top part of the plastic, because otherwise you'll start bowing things. I think the plastic's quite soft, so that isn't going anywhere. Give that a little shake. That's solid, so I'm happy with that. Okay. Right. The next step is to position the 4 sockets 57B in the recesses in the underside of the ceiling panel. Fix in place from the upper side with 4 FP screws. Right, so let me grab my FP screws out. And I'm going to need to change the screwdriver head on that, because the FP screws are really small. Brilliant. Okay, so yeah, I see. We've got 4 holes in the middle. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 sort of across from each other. And then we're going to take these silver parts, and on the other side you've got like a D shape. They're going to marry up with the shape in the roof. And then holding that into position, which is easier said than actually done. There we go. We're just going to fix a screw in from the other side just to keep that into place. Not too tight, but enough to make that solid. So that is 1 in. I'm really happy with that. Second one. Really happy with that. Yeah, it's surprising how little effort you need to put these screws in. I think you could easily just over tighten that and you wouldn't realise. I mean, I keep saying obviously it's a plastic screw, but you would not realise if you were stripping the threads, because it would just, if you're a bit heavy handed, it would just spin and spin and spin. But the D shape's brilliant because it keeps it into place while you screw that up. That's fine, that's in nicely. And the last one just up here. And just pop that in carefully. There we go, that was that in. And they're all solid, I'm really happy, and they're all flat. So that is that part done. So that was step 3. Step 4, along each side of the ceiling panel, fit the 3 lamps on the upper sides and fit them into place with 2 pieces of adhesive tape. So we did this in the last issue. So it's showing us to do these 3 first. I don't think it's going to make any difference because we've got 6 of them to do in total. So I'm going to use the odd one up first, and then as before we're just going to pop the lamp through from the top like that and put 2 strips of tape across there. Oh. So that's one in, just like that. And 2. There we go. That's all we've got to do. And I believe that it doesn't have to be a really tight fit. Basically, I think what they're designed to do is just keep them in place, just for now. Oh, 2's come off with that one. We've just got to keep them in place for now until we sort of fix this all together. It's just to stop them moving about or falling out. There we go, that's the second one, and then we do the same for this one up here. Okay, that needed a little bit more pressure to put them in. I think the moulding was slightly funny. Let me just check the other side. But yeah, I'm happy with that anyway. There's nothing wrong with that. That one will actually stay in on its own without the tape, but I'll put the tape on for belts and braces. So the difficulty with this one is obviously we've got screws in the way, so I'm just going to put it in as far as I can. Yeah, there we go. It's not over it completely because of the screws, but it's enough to hold that in place. Okay. Step 5. I'm just looking ahead because it doesn't say to do the other side. Oh, sorry, yeah, along each side. So, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's fine. Along each side. I'm not reading properly. So I'm going to start with this one up here. Same thing. And then just use some tape. That's 1, 2. 3 and 4. I might actually put a little bit of glue on that when I bend that back up, because I can see it is slightly split. So if I had a bit of glue on there, when I pull it back up, I'm hoping it'll hold it. And then the last one, again with 2 bits of tape. I've still got 2 bits left, but we may need them for another application later on. So I'll just keep them safe up there for the moment. Okay, so that is all the lamps in. So there's 3 that side and 3 that side. And that is looking really good. Okay, so we need to put this piece aside for the moment. And then we need to take the roof panel from the last issue, which we did, and then we're going to fit 2 more of the cable guides on the 2-3 holes here. So the same as what we've just done, we're going to pop them in there, make sure they're flat, which that is. I'm going to have to change my screwdriver head again, and then we're going to use DP screws for this one again. So DP, 2 DPs, that's gone in lovely. Just tighten them up. And then 1 more. So this is the moment of truth in a minute. So I've never had a damaged issue. Well, I have. The cab was I had to have another cab because mine was bent out of shape. But apart from that, I've not had any problems with like plastic breakages at all from the post. So there's always a first for everything. But I'm hoping, as I say, I can work with that. Okay, that's the cable guides in. We're now going to turn this over and we're going to focus our attention on this area, which is going to be the switch. So, again, another hopeful that this is going to work out okay. Fix in place with an AP screw. Be careful to ensure the contacts remain open when tightening the screw. Okay, so we want to get the switch. And I see that there is a little locator. Right, let me sort this focus out. You'll see that there's a locating peg on there. So the locating peg is going to go in the hole. If you hold it in this orientation, the locating peg is going to go in the hole to nearest you, and then the switch is just going to fit in like so, and then the side of the switch is going to rest against the plastic there. So you can sort of put it in at an angle like that to make sure it clears that, and then just spin it round like so. So I need to get the screw ready. We're going to use an AP screw for this. I see. I know why we've got extra bits of tape now. So just pop that in, and then with an AP screw tighten that switch down. But it does say when you're tightening it, make sure the contacts are still open. So I'm happy with that. That does seem to be working. Now we can test that, but I'll do it afterwards when we've set up the rest of the switch. Because at the moment it would work. If I connected that to my multimeter and touched them, we would have continuity, but I want to make sure the actual switch mechanism when it's built works. So what we need to do now is bring the cable over, and it's showing it just down here, and then we need to fix that with a piece of tape. So I'm not actually sure if this tape will be strong enough, but we'll give it a go. I might prefer to use some electrical tape, and it's just showing a picture of some tape across there. Actually, that's okay. Okay, so that's how I've got mine running, straight down there. I've got it fairly tight because, one, I don't want any sag here if we cover this up, and two, I don't actually know how much cable we're going to need on the other end, so the tighter the better, but not too tight. Okay, yeah, I'm happy with that. So with that done, right, this is the bit. Take the two ceiling panels, check how they fit together with the tabs, fix together with 6 JP screws. Right, I'll get my JP screws out. I'm also going to get the super glue out because I need, as I said, there is a slight fracture. I'm hoping we'll be alright, but there is a slight fracture on the top there. I don't think the camera's picking it up for it too well, but yeah, you can just see there's a fracture. So I'm actually going to pump a little bit of super glue in there before I fix these together. So I need something to put some glue on. Oh, this will do. I'm going to bring this up, sort the focus out for you. Okay, so I'm going to use a cocktail stick for this. Just wish me luck. I hope this goes okay. That glue's dried up. There you go. So I'm going to put some glue on this cocktail stick, and then I'm going to rub it on that crease. Just like that. So when I have clipped these together, I'm hoping it will correct itself, but also it will glue as well. That makes sense. Okay, so with the JP screw, we can then affix these together. So what I'm going to do is start on this side, because this side is correct. Clip them together, and I'm going to secure that partially with one screw. I'm then going to slowly make my way to the next holes. Clip them in, and I'm going to do the bottom hole. Right. And now finally, I'm going to push these together. And I'm going to tighten this one. And I think that has worked. That has worked. So what's happened is, where I've screwed that down, the tab has lifted up, and now there's glue wedged in that crack in the crease, so that should strengthen that again, and I'm happy with that. So now I'm going to carry on. I'm just going to put the other screws in lightly and then work my way along and tighten them all. Phew. So we've got away with 2 minor defects. So that's tight as I want to go. Obviously I'm supporting it from the crease on the other side as well, not to put too much strain on. Okay, I'm happy with that. Yeah, I'm happy. It doesn't look like there's anything wrong with that. That's straightened out, got the glue on it, and that feels fairly solid, so I'm really happy with that. Oh god, the whole camera's come out the boom. Right. This is the point on the build now where camera's not going to be big enough. Right, brilliant. Yeah, I'm really happy with that. Yeah, I am really happy with that. I'm glad that's gone together. So, whew, step 8 done. We are now going on to step 6. We need to thread one end of the cord through the hole at the end of the control slider. Tie in place with a double knot. Okay, so I'm just looking at the orientation of the picture. So you want this control slider with the point facing you. Okay, and then the cord is going to go through the right hand hole, like so, and it wants us to tie that with a double knot. Okay, now I'm guessing we've got, oh hang on, I've got a knot. I don't want a knot. Just going to leave that there a sec. Wowzer. Now I don't know if this we get extra or not, so I'm going to try and do it as close to the end as I can. So that's one knot and 2 knots. Now what I could do actually, that's a double knot. Now if I was to super glue that knot, do you think that would strengthen it, or do you think the super glue would react with the cord and melt it or do something? I'm just thinking a little dab of glue on there might just help secure that all together. Actually, why not just try it? If I try it and it doesn't work, then you don't have to. I'm just going to drop a small amount of super glue on that knot just to stop that loosening off. Okay, seems to be alright, hasn't melted yet, and that'll just secure that from loosening. Okay, with that being done, we're now going to fix the slider onto these 2 holes here. So we want to thread the cord through this hole, this large opening, and then I'll pull that through from the other side. Like so. And it's going to sit on there like that. Okay. With that done, we want 2 NP screws. I'm just going to get the NP screws out, and now actually I'm just going to quickly examine the magazine. No, that's fine, we can do that afterwards. I was just looking at how best to put the spring on. So with the NP screws, we're now going to put 2 NP screws through. I'm so sorry about the focus. The autofocus doesn't work, so I have to do it manually just to get you the best view, and I just keep forgetting to do it. Okay, so we're going to put the 2 NP screws in. And then loosen them off, because you want these to, you want it to move freely, like so. Okay. So I'm really happy with that. Next thing we're going to do is grab the spring, and we're going to hook the spring on the hole. Like that, through the hole, and then the end that's closed we're going to secure on this hole here. So we can see how this is going to work now. That's just going to cause it to pull back, so that, right, I may block the view for a moment just till I've got this lined up. Yeah, there we go. Okay, and then with the DP screw, just tighten that up. Okay, and then we've got the operation there. So as you pull the cord, it springs back. Okay, so before we fit the cords through the guides, I'm now going to test that switch to see if we need to make any modifications whatsoever to that. So we want, obviously we've got the black and red wire going onto the switch, so I'm going to probe the black and red on this connector. What I'm going to do is just electrical tape that to my mat, just so it's easier for me to get the probe on, and I want the contact sides upwards, obviously, because the probes won't fit in the ends, so I'm going to probe them from the side there. Ooh. On my multimeter, I'm going to put it onto that symbol, which is continuity. And then what should happen is when I touch these, you might hear that, you get a beep. So I'm going to, it doesn't matter which way you put these, you could put the black on the red or the red on the black. Because we're only checking continuity, it doesn't matter the polarity of these. So I'm going to plug them on and then pull this. Pull some string through. Okay, and I'm not getting a reading. Sorry, you can't see. I'm not getting a reading at all with that switch as it is, so I'm going to have to adjust the switch. So if I pull that, there's nothing happening. But if I do it with my finger, you can hear it does work. So what we need to do is, I'm actually going to grab a piece of paper and my knife, and I'm going to cut the paper. I'll show you what I'm doing in a sec. And then fold the paper up. That's probably enough, actually. Right, so I've got a slither of paper. It's relatively thick, and I'm going to carefully unscrew the switch, swivel that round, and then wedge the paper in. I need to shorten that slightly. I mean, this is how I'm doing it. Obviously you may find a better way. It's probably best to actually use a piece of card, to be honest, but I don't have any two hands. I'm going to get my tweezers for this. This is fiddly, isn't it? No, it's all falling apart. That hasn't worked. Okay, plan 2. What do I do? Plan 2 is to carefully bend the switch back, really carefully, and I'm going to bend both over slightly, and I still need to get something in there to support that switch. Okay, so I found a bit of card. I'm going to cut that to shape. Right, we'll try that. I'm going to put that down where the switch is going to go, and then tighten that screw again. And what that does is it's just wedging the switch out a bit more. So now let's retry that. Yeah, I'm happy. So now, I don't know if you can hear that, when I pull the switch now, we've got continuity, and you can see the numbers flicking around on the screen there. Brilliant. So I'm happy with that. So now that the switch is working, we can move on. So we need to turn this over. And we're going to thread the cords through all of the cable guides. Now luckily they have, looks like they've heated the end of this cord up, so it does go solid. And it's actually surprisingly easy. It's easier than threading a needle. And I've got fairly big hands. Okay, so with that done, we want to pull that fairly tight, and it's saying to loosely secure that with a single knot. So that's what I've done. I can undo that if I need to. Yep, and I'm happy with that. Okay, so that is the cord fitted. As I say, that it says this knot is temporary, so I'm guessing that we're going to have to attach that to something later on. And that is what we should end up with. Okay, so that was it for issue 57. So there is one more step you can do if you wish, but I'm not going to. There is a step 11, and it's saying that we can insert the upright poles into the seats for when we secure this down later on. I'm not going to do that because we've still got to fit the lower deck to the chassis, and I think if they're not a tight fit, they're just going to fall out. So I'm going to actually wait to do this step till when we actually attach the ceiling to the top. Okay, so what I'm going to do is put these somewhere safe, and I don't know where yet, but I will find somewhere really safe for them. They're probably up there in a little bag. I'll wedge it in between there. So I'll do that later date. But that was it for this issue 57. There was quite a lot to do. So I had two problems with mine personally. Obviously the switch was bent back, and I was a bit worried that because it's such a small piece of metal, you know, when you bend metal too far it will just snap, but luckily I got away with that. Also the plastic tab for the two roof panels, as you saw, was bent back and I had a fracture, so I've added a bit of super glue, and luckily that has worked out well for me, and this is now solid, so I'm really happy with that. So I don't need to get a replacement issue. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed this actually. There was quite a lot to do, lots of parts. Yeah, and it was really nice to get more of this done. So yeah, if you wish to buy me a coffee, there is a link in the description below. Thank you so much for the support so far. And I've also got an Amazon wish list. Again, thank you to those that have bought a few bits on there for me. It really means a lot. Absolutely stoked. So thank you so much for that. And yeah, until next week, take care. Bye bye.